I see where this is going with all the Mission Impossible stuff, but no!
Unless you have super sharp eagle eyes, I'm willing to bet that there are some crazy secret details that you somehow didn't catch while watching Despicable Me. And trust me, these secrets are totally going to change everything that you thought you knew about the movie.
Yes! Thank you, Margot! Thank you!
MARGO'S shirts. If there's one thing Illumination Studio does well, it's hiding interesting details in several of its scenes. In Despicable Me, we see some of these on the t-shirts of Margot, who is GRU'S eldest adopted daughter. In Despicable Me 1, Margot wore a t-shirt with the image of Dr. Seuss's classical character, the Lorax, who happened to be one of the stars in a film produced by Illumination Entertainment. Despicable Me 2 has yet another example of this. This time around, Wangan-kun from Bayside Shakedown appears on Margot's t-shirt, which obviously gave a nod to Illumination Studios' business relationship with Fuji Television, the film's production company. But it doesn't stop there. In the third movie, Margot's t-shirt featured an image of the Grinch, which was a clear reference to their adaptation of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Margot definitely is a fan of t-shirts, and while we don't expect her to have an idea that her t-shirts are marketing materials for the studio, it definitely would not be a bad idea if she knew.
I was just thinking that it might be nice to deliver Mr. Rector's first, that is all.
GRU'S origins. Have you ever wondered where GRU is from? I mean, the movies never answered that question, and many viewers have been curious about this. Well, here's a secret you missed that tells us where GRU's from. There's a theory among fans that GRU is a Russian and that his name refers to the Russian military intelligence agency. Fans believe GRU might have some secret ties with Russian spies. And if you think about it, that explains a lot about GRU, his supervillain side, and his obsession with stealing the moon. Maybe our favorite supervillain is actually Russian. This is an interesting theory and one that fans will love to see adapted on the big screen. Who knows? The studio may decide to explore GRU's past in upcoming sequels. That wouldn't be a bad idea, right?
He's getting in the way! That's what he thinks!
Finding Nemo. Anyone who watched Finding Nemo definitely became a fan of the father-son clownfish duo and their amazing blue friend Dory. The first movie dropped in 2003 and instantly became a sensation among viewers. It was a really emotional movie and one that families watched over and over again. In Despicable 3, we see Gru, Lucy, and some minions chasing down Balthazar Brat across the ocean using submarines. And what do we see? We see two clownfish just hanging out in the water, and they end up getting displaced by Gru's submarine. The two clownfish definitely looked like Nemo and his father, and we could not help but love the subtle nod to the movie. I mean, isn't it a fun idea for movies to exist in themselves, and one character from one movie can just crash into another movie? It definitely would make fans scream and love the movie even more. The Minions' language. Hearing the minions speak is always a fun moment for viewers. I mean, watching them express either anger or excitement through only God knows what language. What else could they be speaking if not some random gibberish? At least, this is what a lot of the fans think, but it'll be shocking to know that the language is actually a real one, even though it is fictitious. The creators of the movie didn't just make the minions speak gibberish and call it a day. They actually developed a whole meaning for the words the minions speak. The minion language is actually a combination of several languages such as Korean, Russian, French, Italian, and English. We must applaud the ingenuity of the movie creators. So, the minions were actually not speaking gibberish, but instead were speaking a simple but well-developed language with a lot of real-life interpretation. If you're curious, you can just search for the Minion app on your app store, and you can begin to learn the language yourself. Who knows? You might just become an expert in Minion language, and maybe you can make it even more complex.
You know what, Clive? Playing a villain on TV was fun, but being one in real life is even better!
The 80s reference. I think the fun part about making films, especially animation for kids, is that you get to throw in references to different things that the young audience will not catch, but will catch the eye of the adults who watched it. It's like giving gifts to these adults and taking them on a journey in nostalgia. In Despicable Me 3, we see a lot of reference to popular culture of the 80s through the movie villain, Balthazar Brat. The first we noticed was that Balthazar called his squad or killer robots Brat Pack, which many think is a reference to his name, but the truth is that it wasn't. It was actually a reference to the group of young 80s Hollywood stars known as the Brat Pack, who were a group of young actors. But that's not all. We also have his clear homage to the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson. If you look at Brat Pack's fashion, music, and dance, you'll definitely see Michael Jackson written all over it. He even did the famous moonwalk in one of the scenes. Also, in his bedroom, he had an old neon MTV sign sign, a handheld Simon game, and of course, giant gum bubbles that he blew from pink blocks that look like Bubble Yum blocks. All these were references to the 80s, and we're pretty sure a lot of adults caught up with several of them.
Girls, don't worry, I'm here! Are you okay?
Yeah, we're fine.
GRU'S daughters. A lot of people say that parents want their children to take after them and the things they like, and GRU was definitely not an exception to this. If you watch the movie carefully, you'll notice that GRU'S daughters bear some resemblance to some characters in the movie. We're talking none other than the Minions themselves. GRU'S daughters definitely have a few similarities with the Minions in terms of their size and how notorious they can get. Maybe when GRU went for the adoption, a part of him just wanted an advanced version of his minions. If this is the case, then maybe GRU is more twisted than we think. But one won't deny that GRU tried to be a good father to his daughters and didn't just treat them like they were mere pawns in his game. What do you think?
Are you?
Unicorns are really real, and I'm gonna find one!
GRU's new boss. Real-life references in movies will always make fans sit up in their seats and point fingers at their screen. And it's one thing animation creators are doing a lot these days, and we're loving it. In Despicable Me 3, we meet GRU's boss, Valerie Da Vinci. Fans at first will notice her striking facial features, and for some, it might end there. But for us, it did not. Valerie looked like a real-life person that we know. Do you notice the striking resemblance to White House spokeswoman Kellyanne Conway? I bet you didn't. She had the same split-down-the-middle hairstyle and facial features. And when she says to GRU, "You're fired," you'll definitely have some deja vu about her boss Donald Trump's reality career. We could not help but think that the studio was making a political statement in the movie, but we definitely can't exactly say what. There was also the time when Brad dressed up as a bloated jewelry expert with blonde hair who definitely looked like Donald Trump himself. Do you think this is a coincidence?
If I'd asked you out on a date, what would you have said?
Are you kidding me? Yes!
Sing. Finding Nemo wasn't the only animation that made an appearance in Despicable Me. Our favorite musical, Sing, also makes a couple of appearances in Despicable Me 3. Crazy, right? In one of the scenes, when the Minions snuck into a Hollywood studio, they accidentally stumbled onto a talent competition set titled, you guessed it, Sing, which definitely was a reference to the musical auditions in the Moon Theater in Sing 1. But that's not all. Remember GRU's newfound brother Drew? We also see him raise pigs on a farm, several of which look a lot like the pigs from Sing. Crazy, right? But this particular reference may have made us raise an eyebrow. The pigs in Sing were not raised on a farm and definitely not kept inside a cage. But there's no denying that Despicable Me gave a nod to the Sing movie.
Oh, we're making great progress. I'll try some of these.
Okay, so which one of these secrets did you manage to catch? And which ones did I leave out? Let me know in the comments below. And remember to give this video a thumbs up because we both know it was good. Don't forget to subscribe to more content like this and turn on notifications so you never miss a thing.
Next time I see Brad, I will moonwalk all over his stupid face.